Hey, what's up guys? It's Lemuel from LearntoCode.tech, and today we're going to review one of Python built-in functions called the absolute function. And it kind of works similar to the way that you understand it in mathematics. Essentially, an absolute number or an absolute value is the distance a number is from zero. So let's take a look at some of the arguments that the absolute function accepts. If you look here, we have about 3 arguments. One is integer, 2 floating point number, and 3 complex number. For those of you who don't know what an integer is, it is pretty much a real number that doesn't have any fractional component to it. A floating point number, as you can see, is pretty much a number represented as a decimal. And a complex number. Complex number is usually written in the form a plus bi, if you remember that from mathematics. The bi would represent a represents any constant, and so we would have an a here if we're looking at it abstractly. A would represent some constant plus bi. B would represent some constant times the I, which would be the imaginary number. So in Python, I is substituted for j, and j represents the imaginary number. So we would have our real number constant 0 here, plus our imaginary number 4j here. So let's test out the first 2 arguments, and then let's come back to the complex number. If we come here, we can test out. I actually have Python 3.5 up, and I'm going to execute the absolute function on the number 5, and we see we get a return value of 5. I'm going to execute it again on -5, and we get a return value of 5. And we're going to try it now with floating point numbers. So we'll try 5.0. We get back 5.0, and we'll try -5.0, and we get back 5.0. Okay, so now let's give it a shot with some complex numbers. Remember what I said earlier, that the imaginary unit in Python is j, whereas in mathematics it's usually I. So we'll take the absolute value of 4j, and if you notice here, we get back 4.0. And let's try it with some other numbers: 7j, 10j. We get back 10.0, 7.0, 4.0. And let's go back to the explanation for the return value. And it says that if we take the absolute value of a complex number, we get it returns the magnitude of the complex number, or its distance from 0 on the complex number plane. Now, I have a few resources that will go into more depth that I'll leave in the description box that show you why, or rather how, to evaluate the magnitude of a complex number. But essentially, we just need to use the Pythagorean Theorem. And if you remember, I said that a complex number is of the form a plus bi in mathematics, and it's of the form a plus bj in Python, or engineering, which is where Python actually gets the custom from. The 0 here would represent a, and the 4 here would represent b. So what we would do is take the square root of a squared plus b squared, and 0 squared is 0, 4 squared is 16, so we take the square root of 16, and that would give us 4. So 0 plus 4, the magnitude of 0 plus 4j is 4. And we can confirm that here. We can actually confirm it here. We have a 4.0, but if we want to be specific, we can do 0 plus 4j, and we get 4.0. And so that covers all of the arguments that can be executed by the absolute function. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.